All right, day trading recap for Thursday, November 14th. Just one trade to show. It was IQ. I've been watching this stock for a while. It's had some good moves. It's not, if you look at the daily candles on this particular stock, it moves not too smoothly on the daily, but it has a lot of jumps. I think it's a foreign stock. That's why there's a lot of gaps in between each day because it trades on another exchange. But you could see in peppered throughout here, there are days where it has like some big, nice runs on it. So it makes for a decent day trading stock. But it popped up in my no gap movers right there. You can see it right there. And it popped up in this top list because it didn't gap. If you look at the close yesterday, it kind of opened right where it closed. And so it qualified for my no gap list, and then it had a huge drop. I'm not sure what the news was on it. And maybe option alert. I guess a lot of people were selling. I don't know, but they a lot of puts maybe. I'm not 100% on why it dropped, but it is a China stock. And it dropped big, but then you can see it kind of had some really nice tight pattern here, candles, not too wicky, keeping information, and then using this 8 EMA. As soon as I saw that it kind of was guiding itself with this 8 EMA as it caught up, had a topping tail here, little indecision doji right here, and then it started moving down again. I said, all right, I'll put my stop above, right around like 1750, and I got in at 1735, I think. So like a 15-cent stop, and I said I'd write it down. Now what happened here, you could see what happened. I took some out pretty quickly because if you look at that candle right there, it's a big red candle. There's a 2-bar pullback, 2 green candles, and then a drop. And I got a little nervous because it started moving on a lot quicker than I thought. I'm looking for a nice smooth move down all day. Using that 8 EMA, using the 20 as a backup resistance, and just riding it down. But when it moves so quickly away from the 8 EMA, I start to get nervous. So I took some out at 17.25, 10-cent gain, and then I partialed out the rest. This was less than half, and then this was my remaining shares at 17.17. So 18 cents. So 10-cent gain and an 18-cent gain on this short. And then I had a big green pullback here, so I kind of felt justified in taking my shares out before it actually got to it actually did hit my first target, which was 17. I can't remember what my first target was, 17.15 maybe, somewhere in that range. But I got out before that, and then it pulled back, and then it kept using the 8 EMA, then it started moving up, breaking it, hitting the 20 SMA, and it dropped again. So now it's about where my first target is right now. But I thought this could run a lot. But if you look at the daily candles, you can see, when I got in at 1735, it was already pretty extended, right? So it had a lot of resistance in this area. I was hoping for it to get down to 17 maybe. I think my 3R was like 1702, somewhere in that range. And I wanted it to get down to about that area if I could. But you can see there's a lot of resistance in the recent days, not a couple of weeks back, not too good there, because it's got to fight through that if it's going to keep dropping, and it already had dropped so much. I moved through a bunch of moving averages on the daily chart anyway, so those contributed to me getting a little bit nervous. Plus I had just nothing trades yesterday, so I've been like kind of just looking for a win, looking for something big. And this wasn't really a big win, but it was enough to, this could be it for me for today. I'll look for some afternoon bounces or something and see what pulls, because the SPY apparently was up a little bit early in the morning, and then it had a big drop just about, I want to say about half an hour ago, just half an hour before noon. So, who knows what could happen from this point on. But yeah, long term, if I was on a nice streak where I was winning a lot with my trades, and I wasn't having to claw and scratch out wins, I probably would have held on to some more shares, taken out, maybe waited until it hit my first target, which it did, taken out some, and then put my stop right at break even, which it never came back to, never got right back up to my break even. Put my stop there, and then held on to the remaining shares, see if it could get down to 17, and then keep moving up my stop little by little, or just taking it all out at around 17. So that probably what I would have done, and probably what I should have done. That's the problem I have, is I tend to I tend to pull the trigger too quickly when I'm in a stock that's moving in my favor instead of letting it run. And this was a nice, this was one that I could have felt more confident in because it had a nice tight pattern to begin with. So if it lends itself to a longer run, then there are times when I get into the trade immediately. I said, all right, this is either going to be a scalp. I'm going to get a quick win out of it, just scalp my way out on a jump, or it's going to be a bad trade. This one, I did not think it was turned against me too quickly. But again, when it dropped down here with this red candle, the red flag went off and I took some shares out. So if that hadn't happened, if it had just kind of done a pullback and then kept moving down and down and down, even if it was going sideways, I probably would have just held on to my shares. I wouldn't even have moved my stop up. But when it drops like this, you have to. I feel like I have to take advantage of it. The problem is I didn't just leave myself any shares to hold to see if it gets down to 17. So that was it. I know a lot of people were. Some of the big ones moving today were WB had a big drop. It dropped a lot on earnings. I believe it was earnings today. Yeah, that was an earnings play. And IGT was another one. International Gaming Technologies jumped, and it had a big green bar 5-minute candle to start the day. I can't play those early ones. They're tough for me to get in and out of. I'm just not. I need to paper trade that a little bit more and practice on it. And then Cron was another one that was down. The pot stocks have been down a lot, and it dropped a little bit today. Nothing major. I think that was following CGC, CGC might have been the one that was in earnings. Yeah, oh no, that had earnings 2 days ago, but that was down again. This one gapped. This one gapped down. I was thinking about this one in the pre-market. If you look at the 1 minute chart in the pre-market, you could see that it had. You can see it around 8 o'clock. It had a big spike action here, but it kept below VWAP. I was thinking of getting in here at around 8:20 at 17.18, and then you could have ridden it down to the open. You could have ridden it down over $1. I was a little nervous about it. It just didn't look great for me. I think if it didn't have this crazy spike action here, I probably would have felt more comfortable with it because it tried to regain VWAP. You could see even at 7 o'clock it broke through VWAP. Came back up, failed it, and then I probably would have said maybe get in around here when it breaks below 17. But you would have had to held on as it kind of came back up to around 17.15, and then eventually had a nice drop right at the open too. So yeah, but the only trade I took was iQIYI, and it was decent. And if it continues moving down, it'll be a lesson learned that I really need to. Let my winning trades run. That's for all day traders out there. That's the key to successfully, making money day in day out is to let your winners run, because a winner that can go to your 4 or 5 returns, 6 return return to risk ratio, if you can hit that, can make up for a whole bunch of losses that you take. And if you start really nailing down those big runners, you'll be doing well. So we'll see. It doesn't really look like it wants to break below 17, but if it does, it could continue to drop, maybe even down to the 16-15 range in this area. But we'll see. That's already really extended, so who knows. So that's it. That was my trade, and if I have another trade today, I will post it. Good luck, everybody.